Okay, stop what you were doing and check your calendar. It is January 24, 2026.
It is.
And if you are one of those people who thought the drama surrounding the movie, it ends with us wrapped up when the film left theaters, way back in 2024.
A lifetime ago.
You have arguably missed the most fascinating and honestly the darkest chapter of this entire story.
It really is the zombie apocalypse of Hollywood feuds. Just when you think it's dead, just when you think the press tour is over, it digs itself out of the grave stronger and significantly messier.
Seriously. We are talking about the holy trinity of mess, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Boldoni. But today, we aren't just rehashing the who unfollowed who on Instagram gossip from 2 years ago. We are looking at a fresh stack of sources.
A big stack.
I'm talking newly unsealed court documents, leaked text messages involving some huge A-listers like Taylor Swift and Matt Damon, and the latest legal filings regarding a staggering $400 million defamation suit.
This isn't just gossip anymore. This is really a graduate-level case study in legal strategy versus, public relations warfare.
This power dynamics.
It's all about power dynamics in modern Hollywood. And the mission for this deep dive is to unpack a massive contradiction that just jumps out from the research.
Which is what?
How is it that one party, Justin Boldoni, has technically lost almost every major battle in court so far, yet the other party, Lively and Reynolds, seem to be losing the war in the court of public opinion?
That is the big aha moment we're chasing today, because usually if you win in court, you take a victory lap.
You do.
You issue the press release, you do the Vanity Fair cover. Here, the winners seem to be in hiding, or at least reevaluating their entire brand. So let's unpack this. Where do we actually stand right now in January 2026?
Well, let's ground ourselves in the legal landscape first. As of this month, we are staring down the barrel of a massive federal trial, expected to kick off around May 2026.
Wow.
The thing is far from over.
And just to clarify for everyone listening, because it feels like everyone is suing everyone at this point, who actually pulled the trigger first? Because looking at the timeline in the notes, it's a bit of a tangle.
It is a tangle, but here's the thread. Blake Lively filed civil and federal lawsuits against Boldoni first.
Okay, so that's the start.
Her core allegations are sexual harassment, a hostile work environment, and retaliation.
Okay, so that is the initial salve. Lively says, you made this workplace unsafe.
Correct. In response, Boldoni went big. He didn't just defend himself. He filed a massive countersuit. We're talking roughly $400 million, claiming defamation, extortion, and tortious interference.
Okay, let's pause on that legal term for a second. Tortious interference. That sounds like something from a pirate movie.
Right.
But in this context, that's basically claiming someone intentionally wrecked your business deals, right? Like, you meddled in my contracts and cost me money.
Exactly. It's the legal way of saying you sabotaged my career. And he didn't just sue Lively. He sued Ryan Reynolds, her publicist, and even the New York Times. He basically claimed they all conspired in a coordinated effort to destroy his reputation and future earning potential.
A $400 million countersuit. That is ambitious. It sounds less like a calculation of actual damages and more like a statement, like he's trying to put a price tag on his reputation.
It was a statement. But here's the disconnect we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Boldoni's major countersuits have been largely dismissed by judges.
Dismissed. So does that mean he lost? Does that mean the court decided he was wrong and Lively was right?
This is a crucial distinction we need to make, and it's where legal reality and public perception just drift apart.
Okay.
Legally, yes, he lost those specific motions. But the judges cited anti-SLAP protections.
Right, let's unpack that. Anti-SLAPP. We hear this term a lot in celebrity cases now. It sounds like a slap in the face, but what does it actually mean for you listening?
SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuits Against Public Participation. Anti-SLAPP laws are designed to prevent powerful people, or anyone really, from using the court system to silence critics or shut down free speech by just burying them in expensive litigation.
So when the judge dismissed Boldoni's suit, they weren't necessarily saying Blake Lively is telling the absolute truth.
Wow.
They were saying Lively has a First Amendment right to speak her mind about her workplace experience, and you can't sue her just for criticizing you.
Precisely. That is the crux of this entire deep dive. A judge saying this lawsuit doesn't meet the legal threshold because of free speech protections is not the same as a judge saying Blake Lively is a perfect angel and Justin Boldoni is a villain.
But the public doesn't always read the footnotes on a judge's ruling.
No, they see the headline.
They just see dismissed.
Exactly. But in the court of public sentiment, the wind has blown hard in the other direction.
That's fascinating because usually when a director is accused of harassment by the lead star, the public rallies around the star. We've seen that pattern for a decade now.
Absolutely.
But that isn't what happened here. So before we get into why the public turned, we need to be really clear about what Lively actually accused him of. Because the internet, as it does, has spun this into a million different theories.
This is vital. We have to demystify the accusations.
Yeah.
Based on Lively's legal complaint, she is not accusing Boldoni of criminal sexual assault or violence.
Okay, important clarification.
There is no allegation of non-consensual sexual contact in a criminal sense.
So we aren't talking about a Harvey Weinstein situation here. We aren't talking about physical assault behind locked doors.
No. What we are talking about is a claim of a sexually hostile work environment.
Right.
The specifics in the sources are quite granular. She alleges that Boldoni and her producer, Jamie Heath, engaged in unwanted talk about their sex lives and pornography on set.
Okay, so inappropriate workplace conversation. That creates the hostile atmosphere. It's the kind of stuff that just makes you uncomfortable to be at work.
Right. She also alleges comments were made about her weight and her postpartum body. But perhaps the most damaging professional allegation, and the one the industry really zoomed in on, is about the filming itself.
Which was?
She claims Boldoni improvised intimate scenes, specifically extended kissing, without her consent and without an intimacy coordinator present.
See, that's a huge deal in the post-2020 film industry. Intimacy coordinators are standard now. They are like stunt coordinators, but for romantic scenes.
Exactly.
They choreograph everything so everyone is safe. If you're improvising makeout sessions without one, that's a major protocol breach.
It absolutely is. It's a safety violation.
Yeah.
And Lively's narrative is that when she raised these concerns about the porn talk, the improvising, she faced retaliation. She claims Boldoni and his team launched a smear campaign to paint her as difficult and a diva.
Okay, so on paper, that is a serious workplace safety issue. Unwanted sexual comments plus ignoring intimacy protocols. If this were 2018 or even 2022, she likely would be hailed as a hero.
Oh, for sure.
Why hasn't the public embraced her as a whistleblower? Why has the vibe shifted so hard against her and Ryan Reynolds?
This brings us to what analysts in our sources are calling the co-victim problem.
The co-victim problem.
In the post-#MeToo era, the public has become very attuned to patterns. We've learned that where there is smoke, there's usually a forest fire.
Right. One person speaks up, and then you hear from the assistant from 3 years ago, the co-star from 5 years ago. There's a corroboration effect.
Exactly. And in this case, silence.
Really?
Crickets.
No one.
No former assistants. No actors from Jane the Virgin, which Boldoni starred in for years. No crew members have come out to corroborate Lively's characterization of Boldoni as a predator or a creep.
That is noticeable, especially given how high-profile this is. You'd think if the behavior was chronic, someone else would have seized the moment to speak up. Jane the Virgin ran for 5 seasons.
A long time.
That's a lot of casting crew.
It's glaring.
Okay.
And it highlights the second factor, the power dynamics. We are used to David versus Goliath stories where the brave actress takes on the powerful studio mogul. But in this scenario, if you look at the chessboard, who is Goliath?
It's Blake and Ryan, hands down. They are Hollywood royalty.
Right.
They have the money, the studio deals, the gin brand, the soccer team. They are a billion-dollar industry unto themselves.
Exactly. Lively and Reynolds have massive A-list capital, deep studio relationships, and elite PR teams. Boldoni. He was a first-time major studio director. He had significantly less leverage.
So to the public, it looked less like speaking truth to power and more like punching down.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this leads to the narrative that took hold, the one Boldoni tried to argue in court, but the public has argued effectively on TikTok, which is what we call producer cosplay.
Producer cosplay.
Ouch.
That sounds dismissive, but I've seen this term floating around the forums. Unpack that for me.
It's the perception that Lively didn't just want to star in the movie, she wanted to run it.
Ah.
There are reports, which she largely hasn't denied, of her editing the movie, bringing in her husband to rewrite scenes, and changing the marketing strategy.
Right.
Basically usurping creative control because she felt Boldoni was, quote, in over his head.
I remember the marketing controversy vividly. That was the moment I felt the tide turn.
Yeah.
She was selling her hair care line, Blake Brown, and telling people to wear your florals while the movie was about the cycle of domestic violence.
Right. It was a massive tonal disconnect.
Yeah.
It felt like she was treating a movie about abuse as a vehicle for lifestyle branding.
Totally.
And when you combine that floral marketing with the allegations,
Yeah.
The public started to view her complaints not as safety issues, but as star override.
Star override.
It looked like she hijacked the movie and then used HR language words like unsafe, hostile, to justify seizing control from the director.
That is a cynical take, but I see the logic. The theory is, I didn't like his direction, so I'm going to claim he made me feel unsafe to justify taking the final cut away from him.
That is the interpretation gaining traction, yes.
And it's why the lack of other victims matters so much. If 5 other women said Boldoni was creepy, Lively's takeover would look like a heroic intervention to save the production.
Sure.
Without them, it looks like a coup d'etat. And speaking of coups, we have to talk about the king of the coup, Ryan Reynolds, because frankly, I'm still trying to figure out why he is a defendant in a lawsuit for a movie he wasn't in, didn't produce, and didn't direct.
Right.
He's usually the guy making jokes in the Deadpool suit, not getting dragged into federal court for a romance drama.
It is unusual, isn't it? Usually spouses stay on the sidelines. But Boldoni's side argues that Reynolds was the shadow producer.
The shadow producer.
He allegedly interfered with production decisions and actively promoted the claims against Boldoni behind the scenes. And this is where those newly unsealed texts come in.
Oh, the texts. These are the ones that dropped just recently, right? The ones involving the Hollywood group chat.
Yes, and they are messy.
Okay.
They've turned into absolute fodder for social media because they peel back the curtain on how these A-listers talk to each other. First, the celebrity cameos are wild. We have texts showing Taylor Swift, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck discussing the dispute.
It just shows how high level this circle is. This isn't just a movie set beef. This is the Hollywood elite rallying the troops. It feels very insulated.
It is. But the most damaging revelation might be a specific text from Ryan Reynolds himself.
Oh.
In private messages that are now part of the public record, he compared this situation to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case.
Whoa. Pause. He compared himself and Blake to Depp, or the situation generally.
He invoked that specific cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
And depending on how you read it, that can look very calculated. It suggests he viewed this from the start as a battle for total reputation destruction.
Right.
Using the same victim versus abuser framework that polarized the entire world during the Depp trial.
That is a loaded comparison to make. It implies he saw this as a war to be won, a binary conflict, rather than a misunderstanding to be settled. It suggests a scorched earth mindset, like we need to Depp him.
Exactly. It suggests a strategy of total dominance. And then you have the Jamila Jamil component, which really complicated things for Lively supporters.
Right. Jamila Jamil from The Good Place. She's known for her feminist activism.
Yeah.
She's usually the first one to defend women in the industry. What did she say?
In the unsealed texts, Jamila Jamil, who was communicating with Boldoni's camp, referred to Blake Lively as a villain.
Yikes. Coming from a prominent feminist voice, that is heavy. That's not just an internet troll. That's a peer.
It's devastating for Lively's narrative. Jamil has since faced massive backlash for that and tried to clarify her stance, saying she is still a feminist. But when you have a prominent activist privately calling the female accuser a villain to the accused man's publicist, that validates the public suspicion that there is more to this story than woman speaks up, man is bad.
It breaks the queen narrative. And honestly, it feels like that is where Lively and Reynolds really stumbled. They tried to sell a clean black and white story, and the internet found the gray areas.
That brings us to what the PR experts in our sources are calling the nuclear option. We need to analyze their strategy because the consensus is that this was a catastrophic miscalculation.
You call it the nuclear option. What does that mean in this context?
Think about the speed of this.
Yeah.
Usually, Hollywood disputes happen slowly. There are rumors of creative differences, then a statement, then maybe a settlement years later.
That's quiet.
Very quiet. Lively and Reynolds moved at light speed. They went maximalist immediately.
So instead of saying we had creative differences or we didn't see eye to eye, they went straight to hostile work environment and harassment during the press tour.
Correct. And the theory, let's call it the hammer to squash a gnat theory, is that they treated Boldoni like an existential threat. But why? He's a director with moderate clout. Why treat him like he's a studio head with the power to blacklist them?
That is the question. Why use the bazooka when a fly swatter would do? If they're so powerful, why were they so afraid of him?
The expert analysis suggests the threat wasn't legal. It was narrative.
Oh.
They weren't afraid he would sue them. They were afraid of the story. Aliens, couple bullies, novice director.
Ah, I see. If the story gets out that Blake Lively took over the movie because she's a control freak, that damages her brand. Her brand is the sweet, relatable girl next door, the funny best friend.
Exactly. It shatters the America's sweetheart image. So, the fix. Preemptively kill that narrative.
Oh.
If you frame the takeover as escaping a hostile environment, you suddenly have moral clarity. Victimhood outruns creative disputes. You can't be a bully if you're a victim.
That is remarkably Machiavellian. It's using social justice language as a shield for creative control. I didn't steal the movie, I rescued it from a bad man.
It's standard crisis PR, but usually it's more subtle. Here, it was so aggressive that it backfired. It's the Streisand effect on steroids.
Right.
By trying to crush the bully narrative so hard, they inadvertently convinced everyone that they were, in fact, the bullies.
Because the public looked at the sheer force being used against this one guy, the lawsuits, the press, the whisper campaigns, and thought, what are you hiding that requires this much smoke?
Precisely. By skipping the gray area, the admitted creative disputes, they made the public obsessed with finding the truth. And now we are all detectives.
Yeah.
We're looking at who had authority, who bypassed whom, and thinking, wait, if you were so terrified of him, why were you also rewriting the script and directing the marketing?
It just doesn't add up. And honestly, it makes me think about how fragile these celebrity images actually are. We think they are invincible, but one bad strategic move and the armor cracks.
And that leads us to where we are today. The irony is palpable.
So let's wrap this up. What is the final verdict as of January 2026?
The verdict is mixed. Justin Boldoni has lost the legal battle so far. His defamation suit is mostly gone.
Right.
He likely won't get his $400 million.
So his bank account isn't happy?
No. But Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are paying a massive credibility tax.
That's a great term, credibility tax.
Their reputation as the bulletproof, authentic, fun couple has been severely dented. They spent years building this image of being relatable and harmless. This saga has peeled back the curtain and shown the machinery, the lawyers, the PR strategies, the power plays.
It's hard to unsee that. Once you see the strings, the puppet shows, and his fun, you realize that the relatable banter is just as scripted as the movies.
It connects back to you, the listener. This isn't just about three rich actors. It's about how power is wielded in the information age.
Yes.
We're watching a real-time shift in how audiences consume celebrity narratives. We used to just buy the magazine and believe the cover story. Now, we read the unsealed texts. We check the court filings.
We are skeptical of the perfect narrative, and maybe that's a good thing. We're becoming more media literate, even if it's through celebrity gossip.
I think it is essential. Critical thinking is the only defense against PR spin.
So here is a thought to leave you with. If this nuclear PR strategy, this attempt to use serious social justice language to win a Hollywood turf war, creates more suspicion than silence would have, does this mark the end of the era where A-list stars can unilaterally dictate the truth?
Or will the upcoming May 2026 trial flip the script yet again? Because remember, we haven't heard the testimony yet. We haven't seen them on the stand.
Oh, that trial's going to be wild, and you know we'll be here to dive into it. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Stay curious.